Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane Spawn Mandarin Spawn. This is a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent edition. I pre-ordered this thing at Big Bad Toy Store, obviously, and it finally arrived today. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, this is part of the Gold Label collection. A Gold Label figure is simply a retailer exclusive. Whether it be Target or Walmart, this particular Gold Label is a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. Spawn Mandarin Spawn, Black and White Accent Edition. McFarlane Toys, Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, limited to 3,010 pieces. One side, Mandarin Spawn, Black and White Edition. Other side is blank. At the back, here's the Mandarin Spawn, looking pretty cool. Has some serious Darth Maul vibes there. At the bottom, here's his barcode, in case that helps anybody. This is one of McFarlane's deluxe figures. Take off the outer sleeve, and you can expose the figure on the inside. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He has a display stand, a collector's card, display stand for the collector's card, and then two large blades. Before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Mandarin Spawn. He's a major villain in the Spawn comics. Shanglai was born deformed during the Southern Song Dynasty and was sold by his mother claiming to be a demon. He could not speak and was covered in large bulbous growths from head to toe. He also appeared to be immune to pain. This was his ability that provided amusement for the governor. He was chained, tortured, and humiliated, eventually accidentally killed. He was offered a chance to come back as a Hellspawn, and he took it, beginning to take revenge on all those that tortured and hurt him. He has superhuman strength, speed, stamina, durability. He can also regenerate, use magic, and is a weapons master. He's a villain in the Spawn universe, and they've made several different versions of this figure. So let's take a look. Starting with his face here, it looks really good. Kind of dragon-esque. You can see the Asian sort of hints and style there. Looks pretty evil. He's got horns and spikes and all kind of stylized, exaggerated looks. Giant spike on his right shoulder. Different sort of bones in his armor. Skulls and faces. Things like that. Big giant dragon-looking face on his chest. All looks really good. He's got the sort of skirt thing. You see Chinese dragon there. Looks like we have double-jointed knees. Think single jointed elbows maybe. A lot of detail here. I see a grenade on the back. He doesn't have the traditional Spawn logo anywhere on him, but his own sort of versions of that. You can see on his knee pads, he's got more of those sort of Chinese dragon looking things. As a whole, it's a really good looking figure, and the black and white accent, it looks good. It looks evil. And that is sort of the point. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Between the red and the black and the spikes, he looks really evil. You can see his face down below, nose, mouth, and spikes. Then he has sort of a Chinese-looking character on his forehead. Very unique and interesting design. It looks good, and the black and white accent makes him look almost even better. I also wanted to point out, he has sort of cloven feet here. You can see the 3 large toes. Now let's check out his accessories. And let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. It's a large rectangular display stand. It says Spawn, and it's done in the black and white and red color scheme. It's got one peg for the pegals on his feet, and it's kind of hollow. Here's his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of the black and white with red accent Mandarin Spawn. Mandarin Spawn, black and white accent edition. On the back side, there is a certificate of authenticity. This is number 763 out of 3,010. And it doesn't do much for me, but if you want to display the collector's card next to your figure, you have a stand to do so. Now let's look at his blades. He has 2 of them. They're both done in the black and white with red accent colors. The larger blade here has a Chinese dragon on it. You see the dragon, the blades are coming out of the mouth, pretty cool. Handle is a good amount of sculpt. And then we have the smaller blade. You can see the blade has a nice detailing, a little bit of damage, a little bit of wearing, and the handle has good sculpt and detail as well. Here's Mandarin Spawn holding the smaller blade, And here he is, holding the larger blade, which he can hold with either one or two hands. And if you want him to, he can hold both the blades at the same time. Now to check out the differences and reuse between this black and white Mandarin Spawn and the original version. And they have made now a total of 4 different versions of Mandarin Spawn. And he's the most similar to the red version, which I believe was a Target exclusive. Beyond the obvious paint differences, it's 100% the same figure, same sculpt, same articulation. So let's take a look. Starting with their faces here. This one has almost more of a Chinese color scheme, the gold, the red, etc. But this one just looks more evil with the black and the red and the silver. Exact same sculpt on all the parts of the figure, but he's got sort of gold armor, silver armor, red on the head, gold on the head with a little bit of red, and they both have black as the base of the body. He has red on his arms, this one has silver, the sort of skirt type thing, red background, red dragon, black dragon. They both look very nice, but I'm going to have to give it to this one. I think he looks a little bit cooler. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the very top spike on his head, about 8.6 inches tall, which can translate to just under 22 centimeters. And if we go to the spike on his shoulder, maybe 8.7 inches tall. And for his articulation, which is good and limited at the same time. His head, it can rotate from side to side. He can look up, really not at all, and down the tiniest bit. He can look forward, but I wish he could look up at least a little bit. Can't tilt his head from one side to the other, the tiniest little bit. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out that far in that arm. Not much further than the other one. The armor is severely limiting that. Up, down, around. He's got this butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest, increase the range of motion and cover up the gap. He's got no bicep cut, but his rotation in the elbow. It does look to be single jointed with the rotation. The wrist can rotate and it's going to be hinged. In his torso, he's got a ball joint hidden very nicely under this sort of dragon. Rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist. Rotate around, forward and back. I get more out of the torso than the waist on this guy. Legs, they only go out about this far. They're actually ball joints, not the typical McFarlane style joint. Rotation, minimal but there. Legs go forward. Really not much at all. Back, not much either. Double jointed knees, done in a very odd fashion. They can go forward quite a bit. It's very animalistic. He's got sort of cloven feet, almost like hooves. A little spike back here. His ankle. Forward and back quite a bit. Not sure why you would need it to do that much. It does have rotation as well. So the articulation is unique, but I'd say kind of limited. Here's a look at the Mandarin Spawn in front of a castle type doorway. Flames around him, ready for action. And here's a look at all 4 versions of the Mandarin Spawn. I believe these are all supposed to be the same character, just different variations. If I'm not mistaken, the red one is a Target exclusive, the black and white one is a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, the deluxe one is a GameStop exclusive, and I think the blue one is a wide release. One slightly interesting thing to point out, it looks like these two have sort of a Chinese character on the forehead. This one has a larger character on the forehead, and this one has the traditional Spawn logo. Now let's check them out. Nice to some other action figures, starting off with some other Spawn figures. Here's the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, black and white accent Mandarin Spawn, next to the Target exclusive red version. And here he is, next to the blue version, which I believe was a wide release. And it's kind of odd, it's almost like a mirrored version of this other Mandarin Spawn, the large spike on the opposite side. But there are some other sculpting differences. For example, the armor on the other shoulder. And now, next to the deluxe version of Mandarin Spawn, which was a GameStop exclusive. And I don't think it did very well. It was very overpriced, and when they released it, I said, I'm going to wait for a discount, and it sure went on clearance a little later. And that gives us all 4 different variations of the Mandarin Spawn. I cannot imagine they'll do a 5th. Now check them out with some other McFarlane Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent figures. Here's the black and white with red accent Mandarin Spawn, next to the black and white with green accent Spawn figures. These are the only two black and white accent Spawn figures in the McFarlane line. And here he is, next to all the McFarlane DC Multiverse black and white accent figures. These are all Big Bad Toy Store exclusives. We have Superman, Flash, Red Hood, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter. And there are more to come. Now let's check him out, next to some other recently released Spawn figures. Here he is, next to the Todd McFarlane and Original Spawn 2-pack. And here he is, next to the rest of the McFarlane Toys 30th Anniversary Wave. Then, with the Deluxe King Spawn. And now, next to the Amazon exclusive Glow-in-the-Dark Redeemer. And finally, next to the most recent wave of Spawn figures, we have the Reaper, and then both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the Disruptor. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some DST or Diamond Select toys. Here's Mandarin Spawn, next to a roll of trash bags. And here he is, next to some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a pretty cool Mandarin Spawn figure. Honestly, I think it's my favorite of all 4 versions. It just looks really good. It's visually appealing. We have the black, the silver, with the red accents. It looks more evil than the other ones, but it still maintains that sort of Chinese look. Sculpt and paint job are excellent, no issues there. The accessories of 2 blades, pretty nice. His articulation, honestly, it's rather limited. If I were to rate this figure, probably going to give him like a 6.5 out of 10. It looks good, but the functionality is quite limited in the shoulders, the ankles, the knees. It's cool to add him to the Spawn Rogues gallery. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.